Good morning. This is the newsroom. We're broadcasting to you from our studios in Georgetown. I'm Neil Marks. It's the day after Guyanese cast their vote in general and regional elections. Everyone, as we are sure, are anxious about the results. The results are coming in surprisingly in a very rapid manner from the Guyana Elections Commission. And we are trying to count those, we're trying to do our own tabulation to give you a picture of the results of these elections, but it is a very tedious exercise. What is happening is that, as you know, after the conclusion of votes on Monday, the counting at every single polling station began, and those are posted outside of the individual polling stations. Now, from the last elections to now, the laws were changed, and GECOM is now required to post every single statement of poll online. They have been doing so at their website at gcom.org.gy. Overnight, hundreds of statements of polls have been posted, and so it's our job, it's your job to check them and then to try to tabulate those results. As I said, they've been coming in very rapidly overnight. We haven't managed to be able to sort of give you a rounded picture of the entire country, and that's because results for the various districts vary. So in state, maybe half of the amount of statements of poll, and others are a bit lower and others are very high. So far, the region with the highest number of statements of poll is region number 3. The last time I checked, it was about 98% completed. That is the uploading of those statements of poll to the GECOM website. By midnight last night, at least by this morning, all political parties, at least the major ones, who had agents at the polling stations would have had a very good idea of what the results are. And so what we have to wait on is the official declaration from the Guyana Elections Commission. The way the tabulation works is that all of the polling stations, after they've completed their count, they will come up with a statement of poll to say how many votes went to Party A, Party B, Party C, and then those statements of poll will now go to what is called the district returning office, either the deputy district returning officer or the district officer. In 3 of the regions, there are sub-districts. So in region 3, there are 3 sub-districts. They've split them up so that the tabulation can work a bit more smooth. Then there is in region 4, that has been split into 4. So they have 4 sub-districts: North Georgetown, South Georgetown, the East Bank, and the East Coast. And in region 6, they have also been split into 3 districts. So as I was saying, when the statement of poll is generated at a polling station, that then goes to either the sub-district or the district in cases where those districts don't have sub-districts, and then the tabulation exercise begins. Tabulation meaning that they would then check how many votes were cast for each party at what polling stations to be able to come up with the results in these elections. Once that is done, the district returning officers are obligated by law to make a public declaration of those results. So if you can imagine it, then the 10 district returning officers with 10 announcements of the results in their districts will tell us the results of these elections, and then there will be a declaration, an official declaration by the Guyana Elections Commission of the winner in these elections. In the case of the sub-districts, there could be declarations there, but just so as not to confuse it, just imagine that there will be 10 official results from the 10 electoral districts, and those will form the basis for the results of these elections. Like I mentioned, the Guyana Elections Commission is posting the individual statements of poll to their website. And as you can imagine, it's a bit chaotic because there are tens of thousands of persons who are trying to access the results from that website. So the website is particularly slow. We have been trying to get these statements of poll, but it is a very tedious exercise, sometimes very long wait, sometimes you don't get onto the website. And so that's how things are looking at the moment. I can show you what the website looks like at the moment. I've had to keep this page up and try not to refresh it because we may not be able to get on back to it after a bit, but this was just a couple of minutes ago. So if you look at the district, so District 1, which corresponds to Region 1 in Guyana, you would notice that they are expecting, you may not be able to read on your screen because we're projecting this from my laptop. So in District 1, they are expecting 226 statements of poll. So far, they have 41. In District number 2, they're expecting 316 statements of poll. So far, they have received 117 and posted that to the website. In Region number 3, they're expecting a total of 814 statements of poll, and they have 403. This is much higher, actually. When I go back to the other slide, we can look at that. In District 4, they've received 936 statements of poll for the general elections. In Region 4, there are 2,176 statements of poll to come in. So halfway there, you could say. In District number 5, 386 statements of poll are expected. 175 have been posted to the website. In Region 6, there are 870 statements of poll to be received. So far, they have 287. I'm just calling the numbers for the general elections. The regional election figures are not far behind. In District number 7, 198 statements of poll have to be posted. They've done 42 thus far. In Region number 8, 116, 21 have been posted thus far. In Region number 9, 182 statements of poll, 65 have been received. In District number 10, of the 296 they expect, they have 128. But as I mentioned, in the other summary, the results are much more expansive. Like I said, look, for example, if you try to click on District 2, for example, to try to get the statements of poll there, it takes a while. It comes eventually, but it takes a while to get there. So we'll continue to monitor the website and try to tabulate those results so we can try to give you a picture of what is happening. Of course, GECOM is the official tabulation authority, and they are the official ones. They will be the ones to give you the official results, but we're just trying to get you a picture. Like I said, some of these graphs are not up to date, but they're the latest ones that we were able to get before the website, I don't know, times out, if that's the language to use. And so the last time we were checking Region 3, for example, Seems like I have the same thing for both of them. See, so my gallery went back to the original thing. Let me see if I can get it by district. Yeah, so one has well, some of the ballot boxes you see for District 2 have finally been loaded. If I try to go back there, this is what happens. When you try to refresh, it takes forever to get back to the page. So yeah, so those are what it looks like in uploading the SOPs to. Surprisingly, Region 3, one of the larger regions, has before on air of the statements of poll for Region 3 were posted, and we're trying to add those up to give you a sense of what the results are in that region. Now, for reactions to the results that parties know so far, we've had comments from the General Secretary of the PPP and President Irfaan Ali himself. Like I said, parties, the big parties, APNU, PPP, they would have had a good idea of the results. WIN, which is the new entrant in these elections and has done pretty well. So far, the big news to report really is WIN and what they have done to the APNU. It seems like APNU, which is essentially the PNC, because the other parties in that coalition don't particularly have a constituency so as to bring in any sort of votes. So really, the PNC has taken a licking right, left, and center by the new entrant in these elections. I mean, if you've been tracking what they have been posting and some of what we've been getting from the GCOM website, you can see that the PNC in some areas have been completely decimated. Their strongholds have been overtaken by the WIN party. The PPP, while WIN was able to take some of their support base, it hasn't been that great. President Irfaan Ali himself striking an optimistic tone and a positive tone in his message last evening. Like I said, these parties they know the numbers. They've been talking about it. President Irfaan Ali, in his statement, saying that, first of all, he thanked and congratulated every Guyanese for peacefully exercising their democratic right to vote on September 1st. He said, as GCOM continues the process of uploading, verification, and tabulation, I urge all to celebrate our democratic values as we open another chapter in the development of our beautiful country. By the end of today, President Ali said, the trend will be clear and we will be in a position to move forward together. That statement from President Irfaan Ali, they're striking a positive tone as he seeks a second term in office. A similarly positive tone was struck by the General Secretary of the PPP, Dr. Bharat Jagdeo. He said that, of course, like I said, the big parties have the macro picture. That's the word that he used. And according to him, it's a very good picture for the PPP. So I'd like to play you now this recording that we did with the PPP General Secretary last evening. This was about 9 in the night, when by that time they would have had a good idea of the trends in this election.
And anything else you wish to add? It's all yours.
So I'm very reluctant to speak this early. The process is still ongoing. Right now, as we're speaking, there is a counting process, and that has not been completed as yet. Thereafter, GCOM, as per the new law, would have to upload the SOPs, and then formally start the process of tabulation and the declaration of results. Nevertheless, I thought that I should give you the comment since you requested it. From the party's perspective, we had a good day, and I think the country had a good day. The formal process of voting went smoothly. There were some glitches along the way, and these were brought to the attention of GCOM by the various political parties, and I think GCOM sought to accommodate their concerns. There was nothing fatal about the process, and it went peacefully. And I guess every Guyanese who wanted to exercise their franchise could have done so today in a peaceful manner. You saw many of the polling places didn't have any crowds. As we got closer to the evening, people could have gone there and freely voted, in spite of the concerns at the beginning that the voting was very slow. The process, the vote was a very slow one. So I'm very pleased that we've had a peaceful day of voting. We're all now awaiting the results, and hopefully the declaration of the results, and the country will continue to maintain this peaceful posture. I want to say to the population on the whole and PPP supporters, be patient. It's going to be a long night, and results are going to come in little dribbles from different parts of the country. And it's hard to form an opinion based on what you see on individual statements of poll. We have a macro picture, and as far as I see, it's a good picture. And the results are going to be known very soon. We don't have to wait 5 months for these results, because by tomorrow I expect all of the SOPs to be uploaded, and then every Guyanese would know the result of the elections. Having said that, as I said before, we've examined all of the numbers. We've been calculating turnout in different parts of the country, and we've been looking at the trend, the early trend. And the trend that we see now confirms what we knew before the elections, and we said to some people. And we expect that trend to hold from the polls that we had. So, and the trend is, you're seeing it now, that APNU will have a very difficult night. They will have a very, very difficult night. APNU supporters, or traditional supporters, are going to go 3 ways. To the PPP, to win, and some will remain with APNU. And that party will have some serious introspection to do. I believe, and I said this on the campaign trail, and I said this right at the press conference, that they made a serious miscalculation. They were hoping that win will damage the People's Progressive Party and somehow lead to a minority government. Now, win will take support from APNU, may take small numbers from the PPP, but just considering like a few facts. In the last election in Georgetown, APNU got 45,000 votes in South Georgetown. We got 6,000, just around 6,000. That's a 39,000 margin in South Georgetown alone. In North Georgetown, they had 22,000 votes, and we had 11,000 votes. That's a 11,000 margin in North Georgetown. Combined, that's a 50,000 margin in Georgetown that we had to overcome with surplus votes from other regions and East Coast, because East Bank was very close, about 3,000 difference. We had to overcome that. They will never end tonight with that big margin of 50,000 votes more than the PPP in the city. That's what I mean when you talk about macro issues. So a lot of people get carried away with, what they see on an individual SOP in Carmel or wherever. And it is that sort of consideration when you look at it from here now. So based on the turnout that we have seen and the split in their votes, as I said before, the three-way split in their votes in Georgetown.
Are your figures showing
Yes, go ahead, Dennis. Go ahead.
are your figures showing a low voter turnout all over?
There is a lower voter turnout than in 2020, but it's worse in some areas. And like the city is one of those.
And why was your view that
Why do you think
out of mass?
a significant amount of people stayed away from the APNU base? Is, I think many may not want it openly to support the PPP, but they were not going to risk a change in government because there was no good alternative to the PPP. And others may just, have opted out of the process because APNU did not do enough work, in my view, in the city. And so those could be just two considerations. So these are just some early thoughts on the elections. I see some parties getting very excited and posting their SOPs and stuff like that. We're not going to resort to that because GCOM will upload all of the SOPs. In the last elections, we undertook to do that, and we did that like that just a day or two after the elections. But now we don't have an independent website to upload all of this because now the law requires GCOM to do so, and people can make their own calculations.
But there is nothing barring the party from showing its own.
No. There's no. It's not illegal to do that. But if it's fake, please don't show fake stuff.
No, but I want to, not the fake. I wanted to know why the decision, not this year, but you did in 2020. What was
Because
the
we believe that GCOM may be able to do this faster than the People's Progressive Party, because it's part of their requirement. As soon as the SOPs are signed on to tonight and they are taken to the RO's office, not the RO's, I think the DRO office, they have an obligation in some cases, and then in the RO's office in other cases. So like in those regions where, like Region 4, you have East Coast, East Bank, North Georgetown, and South Georgetown, they'd be uploaded from those places. And where you have a single RO for a region, like the smaller regions, that is the point at which they'd be uploaded. But that could happen really tonight, and we expect it to happen tonight. And as I said before, you can't see a complete picture until you see all of these, given that elections are not determined just by the numbers that you see on the SOPs, but by turnout and a whole range of other issues.
obviously people will be very anxious about the results. Why are you so confident that you can get it as early as tomorrow? GCOM's upload all those SOPs. Was there any sort of
No, because I believe that they may not even complete the tabulation tomorrow, but once the SOPs are uploaded and all of them, then the citizens of this country would take out their calculators and they can do a quick calculation and they would have results even before the formal process has been concluded by GCOM.
I was going to ask about your confidence in GCOM also, but from the perspective of GCOM's website being done periodically today and frustrating a lot of persons who are checking for their polling places, you have confidence that they're going to do this?
Yes, GCOM has assured all the political parties that they're capable of complying with the law, and the law requires them to upload these SOPs. They don't have a choice, and I expect they will do this efficiently and competently, and I can't second guess them.
My other thing was on complaint, if you've gotten any feedback of complaints about disabled persons' access to
This question was raised earlier, and when I was voting earlier today, and at that time I did not have any formal complaint. Until now, we have not had that at the party level, although I saw a number of people WhatsApp me pictures of them taking their relatives up what looked like very difficult terrain, up some steep steps to go and vote. And clearly they needed help because they were assisting them to go up. Now, I think in the future we may have to consider how we deal with this matter, particularly when you go, in buildings that are multiple storied and without an elevator. So I think in the future we should examine that carefully. Yes, please.
One, there was a confrontation between Minister within the Ministry of Housing, Suzanne Rodriguez, and Aubrey Norton there at one of the polling places. Can you give us an update in terms of what exactly happened and what was the conclusion from your party's perspective on this?
So we had reports that Mr. Norton was there trying to rearrange the furniture in the polling places, and that he was physically trying to do so. Now that's not the job of the leader of the opposition. The polling place, when you go in there, it's under the jurisdiction of GCOM, and the presiding officer is the boss there. And so had he any concern of that nature about placement, he should have contacted GCOM. And there was a big ruckus for quite a while, which was disruptive of people voting. But it was subsequently resolved. We chose not to make a big issue of it. And then later in the afternoon, there was another issue with someone from APNU showing up with a laptop, and there were claims that she was misleading people. Instead of the information officer of GCOM telling people where to go and vote, she was accosting them outside of the polling place and misdirecting them. So then that caused another commotion in the polling place. And there were incidents of that nature, but we've seen worse in this country. So we didn't let that bother us too much.
Let me ask you one more thing. GCOM at the press conference earlier, Yolanda Ward read a statement about the fake SOP that was published. What do you make of this kind of attempt to publish these type of fake SOPs at this juncture?
I think what they were saying, GCOM said that there was a fake SOP, and I think it was uploaded by the Team Mohammed. I would urge them to desist from this. In a day's time, everybody would know the results. So it may give you a short-term advantage now by uploading an SOP here or there, but you should not by any standard upload fake ones. But at the end of the day, the results would be known. And in this country, our voting system is proportional representation. And the party that gets the most votes wins the presidency, and the party, and depending on the votes that you get in relation to the number of voters who turn out, the seats in parliament are allocated. So it's a simple system. And at the end of the day, every vote would be added up, all the votes around the country for each party, and then the results would be known to the public.
Thank you very much.
Okay? All right, thank you very much.
General Secretary of the incumbent People's Progressive Party, Dr. Bharat Jagdeo, speaking last evening at Freedom House, the headquarters of the People's Progressive Party. Dr. Bharat Jagdeo, they were saying that the PPP at that time had a macro outlook of the results of these elections, and that for the PPP, he saw a very good picture. President Irfan Ali also striking a positive tone in a message he issued after midnight last night. First of all, he thanked Guyanese for peacefully exercising their vote on Monday, and he said that as GECOM continues the process of uploading, verifying, and tabulating the vote count, he was urging all to celebrate our democratic values as we open another chapter in the development of our beautiful country. By the end of the day, he said, the trend will be clear and we will be in a position to move forward together. Now, if you're very fast in calculating and you have excellent results trying to access the GECOM website, well then by now you would also be able to have a clear picture of the results, because as of about half an hour ago when I came on air, GECOM had posted 73% of all statements of poll cast in these elections. And if you could have a look at my screen, you would notice that for district number 1, 36% of the statements of poll were in. For district 2, 74%. For district 3, 98%. Hopefully by now the others would have come in, but if not, I mean, that's almost done. In district 4, surprisingly, remember last elections, this was the headache, but in these elections, instead of one massive region 4 district, that district has been divided into 4 sub-districts, and so the results can come in a bit faster. So district 4, as of half an hour ago, had 75% of these statements of poll in. District 5, 8 and 9% completed, so well along. And in district 6, just over half of the results in, 56%. Region number 7 had 42% of the statements of poll in. District number 8, let me make sure I'm running that across properly. Yeah, region number 8 has 74 statements of poll yet to be received from there. And that's because region number 8 in particular is a very difficult terrain. As you know, district number 8 is comprised also of the Pacaraima Mountains, and so to get to some of those locations is pretty tough. I can tell you that when I last checked with my sources in that region, the returning officer was still trying to fly to different locations to pick up ballot boxes. Most of them were still out, but he is on his way to get those statements of poll. In district number 9, also Rupununi, also a difficult terrain rather, the Rupununi, but they already had 71% of their statements of poll uploaded. In region, let me say, I hope I'm calling them right. Right, and District 10, 57% of the statements of poll in. Region 9, 71%. Region number 8 is the one with 36%. So that's how things looked half an hour ago when we checked the websites. This is a screenshot actually, because when we try to refresh on the website, it takes forever. Woo, success. I was able to get one statement of poll after a very long try. This is one statement of poll I just picked randomly from region number 3. And so this is how a statement of poll looks when they upload it. So it's a scan of the statement of poll, and then they post it to the website. This is the case for all of the regions. So let me give you an idea then. If I try to click another one, this is how long it takes. So this is the statement of poll for general elections for this polling station at Hague. And as you notice, it takes a while to pick up. That was actually that was the fastest it's ever come up. So yeah, again, there you can see some results. So this is what the statement of poll looks like. Let me tell you how. So the parties were placed on the ballot box supposedly in alphabetical order. So APNU was the first, then the AFC, then this is ALP, the party of Simona Bruns, Forward Ghana Movement from Walton Desir, the PPP, and WIN at the bottom. So in calculating the results, if you're trying to do it for yourself at home, you would also obviously have to count 13 for APNU from this statement of poll and go to the hundreds of other statements of poll and calculate the results for APNU, so you will know how much they got in this particular district, and then you do the same for the other parties, and that's how you know the results of these elections. The last time around, we did not have the benefit of this sort of information. Usually, once the vote count is complete at a polling station, they post the results outside, so we would have had to be scrambling to try to get to polling stations to take pictures of those statements of poll and then trying to give you some sort of result. Parties with their agents at the polling stations would have been able to receive them much faster, but that's the way it worked. But now for these elections, the laws were changed, mandating the Ghana Elections Commission to post all of the statements of poll online so you can see them, we can see them, so that there is that rock solid level of transparency in these elections. Because as you recall, in the last elections, key officials of the Ghana Elections Commission itself and officials of the then APNU plus AFC government tried to rig these elections. So the law was passed in Parliament for these statements of poll to be uploaded so you can have a look at them for yourself and do your own calculation if you wish. There are, of course, hundreds of these statements of poll that have been posted to the GECOM website. It's amazing that they have been able to do that because, you know, given Ghana with blackouts and all of that, people were pessimistic about whether the website will actually work, if it will go down. GECOM said they had contingency measures in case there was a blackout so that the posting of these statements of poll would not be interrupted. But, and as we can see, that seems to have been playing out pretty well, because when we got up this morning, of course we had to sleep, but when we got up this morning, I personally was very shocked to see so many statements of poll posted to the website. So we are now trying to do some level of tabulation to be able to bring you some results. So you see, if I try to go back, it sends me back to the statements of poll gallery. This is the link where you will get the statements of poll. And as you notice, it takes a while to pick up. But this is the way that it has been working, given the progress that they've made so far, that all of this afternoon. And again, if you're very and if your internet connection works, operates, then you should know elections. The parties know the general picture of these elections. The only are the PPP and the Alliance for Change. The Alliance for Change, I mean, based on what we've seen thus far, doesn't seem to be in this race at all, and they did, pretty badly. But in a statement on their Facebook page, they thanked their supporters and others, and they seem to have been pleased with their results. As we were mentioning, the PPP, which is hoping for a second term under President Irfan Ali, they struck a positive tone. Vice President and General Secretary of the PPP saying that they have it's a very good picture for the PPP, and President Ali striking a positive note, saying that he was looking forward to another chapter in the development of our beautiful country. You are watching the newsroom, and as we've been reporting on the results from these general and regional elections conducted on Monday, we are saying that the Ghana Elections Commission has made very good progress, excellent progress, in fact, in uploading statements of poll to their website. And from that, you can track the results of these elections. As soon as we have something very significant to report back on these results, we will get back to you live.